Ain't no charge worse in the pen than being labeled a predator. No fame, no money, no family ties can save you from that. And now, King Harris, the son of rap royalty, the loudmouth kid who thought he was untouchable, is staring down a future where the name Harris won't open doors. It'll paint a target on his back, the whispers on the inside. They're already spreading. The inmates don't see celebrity, they see food. They see a young, cocky kid walking in with a reputation that makes him the lowest of the low behind bars. And trust me, that label follows you everywhere. Forget Instagram lives, forget viral rants. This is survival now. And survival in prison comes with rules that King has never learned. Who's gonna protect him when the lights go out? Who's gonna save him when the same people laughing at his antics online are the ones waiting for him in the yard? This ain't about music, money, or fame anymore. This is about raw reality. And King Harris is about to find out the hard way. Prison life is way worse than he ever imagined. King Harris. The name alone is enough to light up blogs, stir up Twitter feuds, and spark viral TikToks. Son of rap legend T.I., raised in the spotlight, fed by fame, and fueled by controversy, this kid has never been far from drama. From viral rants where he threatened to prove he was tough, to messy nightclub antics, King has built a reputation not as a rising artist, but as the loudest mouth in the room. But all of that noise? It's about to come crashing down, because this time, the scandal isn't about a viral argument. It isn't about another cocky Instagram live. This is about something much darker, something that landed him on the wrong side of the law and the wrong side of public opinion. And trust me, when your last name is Harris, the fall from grace is brutal. It all started with whispers, online chatter, screenshots, and so-called receipts. First, it was dismissed as trolling. Then it was brushed off as just another rumor. But then, evidence began to surface. Anonymous accounts dropping documents, leaked photos making their rounds, and a sudden wave of old videos being reanalyzed with a sinister lens. And in the middle of it all, King Harris. The internet did what it always does. It went into full detective mode. Twitter threads stretching 20 posts deep. Reddit sleuths digging through every clip, every word, every grainy screenshot. TikTok breaking down his facial expressions like some kind of crime lab experiment. And suddenly, the once funny antics of King Harris were being reframed as red flags. But the story really exploded when one claim, one horrific discovery, tied it all together. King wasn't just the cocky rich kid with a famous last name. No, he was something much worse. Reports claim that during an impound inspection of a Tesla linked to him, investigators discovered something no one was ready for: a decomposed body. A teenage girl, identified later as Celeste, who had been missing for more than a year. Shock, outrage, disbelief, the headlines practically wrote themselves. Rapper's son linked to grisly discovery, memes spread. But they weren't funny anymore. They were terrifying, and here's where the scandal really takes a sickening twist. Social media users started pulling up old connections, a tattoo on Celeste's skin resembling King's name, a leaked voice memo sounding eerily like him, private Discord chats hinting at late-night conversations. The pieces weren't perfect, but in the court of public opinion, they didn't need to be. The puzzle was already solved. King Harris wasn't just controversial anymore. He was now seen as dangerous, and while his family scrambled for damage control, the streets, the blogs, and the digital detectives all asked the same question: how deep does this scandal go? Because if this discovery was just the beginning, what else could surface next? The headlines were already explosive, but what came next? That's when the so-called receipts started piling up. First came the alleged forensic report leaked by an anonymous insider on Reddit. According to this mysterious source, the Tesla had DNA samples connecting directly to King Harris, a strand of hair, a partial fingerprint, even a trace of his cologne found in the frunk. Now, does that sound a little too perfect? Maybe, but perfection is exactly what feeds the internet outrage machine. Then came the voice recordings. Audio clips passed around like wildfire on Discord servers, allegedly of King talking to someone late at night. In one chilling snippet, a voice that sure sounded like his whispered, "Don't tell anyone where you're going." Was it doctored? Could it have been AI? Doesn't matter. The court of public opinion doesn't wait for trial dates. They convict in real time. And just when people thought it couldn't get any darker, screenshots appeared. Private chats filled with emojis, late-night confessions, and flirty banter between King and an account said to belong to Celeste. Real or fake, it didn't matter. Every pixel was fuel for the fire, the public reactions. Absolute chaos.twitter was trending with hashtags like hashtag cancel King, hashtag justice for Celeste, and the brutal hashtag King behind bars. TikTok edits flooded the algorithm. Clips of King's past rants stitched together with eerie music, his cocky threats turned into foreshadowing. Reddit threads broke down timelines, comparing King's movements with Celeste's disappearance. And YouTube commentators? They smelled blood in the water. Overnight. Video essays popped up with titles like The Dark Truth About King Harris and How a Rap Prince Fell from Grace. But the most damning reactions weren't even from strangers online. They came from those closest to King. An alleged family friend told a gossip blog, "We always thought something was off. King was reckless, but we never imagined this." A supposed ex-girlfriend went on TikTok Live and claimed she too had felt manipulated, pressured, even groomed. Suddenly, the narrative shifted from isolated scandal to a pattern of behavior, and then came the brand fallout. Nightclubs that once booked him started canceling appearances. Reality TV producers quietly removed his name from upcoming episodes. Even collabs with streetwear brands were put on hold. The money faucet was turning off, drip by drip. But the biggest question wasn't about bookings, brands, or even reputation. It was about survival. Because inside prison walls, your charges follow you. And when the whispers spread that King Harris might be walking in with the stigma of a predator, that's when the real fear began, because public outrage is one thing. Prison justice? That's an entirely different story. And King Harris, whether guilty or innocent, was about to face a reality check that no amount of Instagram lives or viral rants could ever prepare him for. By the time the scandal reached full boil, the Harris family name wasn't just trending, it was burning. What had once been associated with rap royalty was now splattered across every news chyron, every gossip blog, every corner of the internet. And the fallout? It came fast, brutal, and merciless. First, the legal hammer. Prosecutors announced a full-scale investigation, citing mounting evidence and overwhelming public concern. Translation: they were under pressure to make an example out of King. Anonymous law enforcement leaks suggested potential charges ranging from obstruction to far darker accusations. The words life sentence even began floating around in hushed tones. Whether true or not, those two words were enough to keep the internet foaming at the mouth. Meanwhile, inside the Harris household chaos, T.I. was reportedly scrambling to call in every favor, every lawyer, every connection. Tiny allegedly broke down on camera, insisting her son was being framed. But public sympathy? It was gone. The internet wasn't buying the protective parent angle anymore. They saw a powerful family circling the wagons, desperately trying to shield a son who had crossed the line, and then came the government probes. Headlines screamed about potential corruption, officials supposedly turning a blind eye, money quietly changing hands, files misplaced. One so-called whistleblower even claimed that King's connections had delayed Celeste's case for months. Whether fact or fabrication, the narrative had taken root. King wasn't just accused of a crime. He was this video of a cover-up. The public backlash reached a fever pitch. Protests outside courthouses. TikTok creators marching with "Justice for Celeste" signs. Even celebrities chimed in, with some rappers distancing themselves and others outright condemning him. The once up-and-coming rapper was now branded as the face of disgrace, and yet, for all the headlines, the memes, and the think pieces, the darkest part of King Harris' story wasn't online. It was waiting for him behind bars, because in prison, your reputation enters before you do. And King's reputation? Toxic. The label of predator is the lowest of the low. The one charge that strips away whatever clout or fame you thought you had. Inmates don't care about Instagram followers. They care about survival. And to them, someone walking in with king's baggage is prey. Stories began circulating of welcome committees waiting for him, inmates sharpening toothbrushes, trading bets on how long he'd last. Guards allegedly overheard saying, "He won't make it through his first month." The picture painted was grim. A young man who thought he was untouchable, now utterly vulnerable. The question hanging in the air wasn't just, will he beat the case? It was, will he even survive prison long enough to find out? Because out here, King Harris is a scandal, but in there, he's a target, and that reality, cold and merciless, is worse than any headline you've read so far. So now the question isn't just about guilt or innocence. It's about survival. Will King Harris make it through this storm, or will his prison cell become the final chapter in a story that spiraled out of control? The internet has already judged him, but what about you? Do you believe he's a victim of circumstance, or the architect of his own downfall? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this conversation is only getting started. And if you want the raw truth behind scandals they don't want you to hear, hit subscribe. The next expose is coming.